This isn't about what did I think of Charlie Kirk or not. This is a horror, what happened here. When those of you ask me, why is the media focusing so much more, for example, on the shooting of Charlie Kirk than on a Colorado shooting that happened yesterday? And the answer is because this one is more dangerous for the country. I certainly wouldn't judge one to be more significant than the other. But when it comes to the impact and the motivation, the killing of Charlie Kirk is a really big deal. In the wake of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the conservative influencer, media figure, etc., that has sort of stunned the country, I guess we shouldn't be surprised that there are a number of people out there saying either stupid or inflammatory things, right? Meaning the obvious way to go about this is to denounce it unequivocally, to talk about how horrifying it is, to say we need to find the person responsible, and to try not to throw gas on the fire. Because this is a big deal. Putting aside the human side of it for a moment, the Charlie Kirk had a family. You know, I disagreed with a lot of what Charlie Kirk said, but he was at least a guy who was willing to debate, which I always respect. But this isn't about what did I think of Charlie Kirk or not. This is a horror, what happened here. And it's terrible for the country. So when those of you ask me, well, and I got a bunch of this on social media, why is the media focusing so much more, for example, on the shooting of Charlie Kirk than on the Colorado shooting that happened yesterday? And the answer is because this one is more dangerous for the country. This has much more symbolic meaning. Doesn't mean that the human part of both are equal. The passing of a loved one, I certainly wouldn't judge one to be more significant than the other. But when it comes to the impact and the motivation and where we go from here, the killing of Charlie Kirk is a really big deal. And let me start with my frustration at how much the FBI has bungled this. And I don't think it's the FBI agents. I think it's the director of the FBI. We were told they caught the guy. That's what he told us. No other FBI director would have said, we got the guy. They would have said, we're talking to people of interest. We've had someone detained, etc. I mean, this is Kash Patel, shortly after the shooting, went to social media and said the following: the subject for the horrific shooting today that took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Thank you to the local and state authorities in Utah for your partnership with the FBI. We then knew who the people were. 2 hours later, Kash Patel says, oh, by the way, the subject's been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. That's a really big deal. You're the director of the FBI. It matters. This is an important case. And this is why when you put someone like Kash Patel in charge of the FBI, you get this kind of result. Now, look, I am confident that the people who work at the FBI are going to be able to crack this thing. It is still, despite what Patel has done to the organization, it is still a premier law enforcement organization, an entity. They put out a picture of a person of interest. I hope that the public will help in trying to find this guy and bring him to justice. But even there's a bunch of MAGA folks who are now going after Kash Patel. I mean, Laura Ingraham tweeted out, suspect still on the loose, unreal, get him, in response to Patel. A bunch of others were critical. But I want to focus more of the attention on the public response. As I said at the top of the show, this isn't hard in figuring out how to respond. You don't have to have liked Charlie Kirk at all. You can have viewed him as a horrible person because of things he said, and you should still unequivocally be angry and afraid for our country based on what happened to him, period. And yet You're seeing both sides now, extremists, some folks on MSNBC, and the president himself is one of these extremists, already trying to point fingers. And I'll talk about MSNBC in a moment. But first, this is the president. This is number 11, blaming right after the report is confirmed that he has died. The president holds an Oval Office address that almost any other president would have denounced it, called for the killer to be brought to justice, and tried to unify the country behind condemnation of the violence. But not President Trump. This is number 11.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now.
Coming from him, that is almost unbelievable. And I say almost because, again, I guess we shouldn't be surprised. But this is a guy who is constantly throwing gas on fires.